Hey, welcome back, everyone. So I'm doing the dreaded notary bag video. Uh, I didn't want to do it because there's so many out there, but I spoke to a notary on the other side of the country that said, hey, you should do it because there's people that follow you that may not see the videos of other people that have done the same thing. So I'm going to share what I have in my notary bag and uh, yeah, just what I have, what I use on a regular basis. And I did not prepare anything. I'm just going to open it up and share it with you. So the first thing is I use a briefcase right here. Okay. And I used to go through about one briefcase a year. This one I paid a little bit more money for. And so I'm going on my second year with this particular briefcase. And the reason why I use a briefcase, because I know there's a lot of people that use those messenger bags and so forth, but I feel like you could be more organized with a briefcase. And I've actually gotten some people compliment me on my briefcase, like, hey, I've never seen that briefcase being used in a long time. It's been a while or something. And it's just great. It just looks like you're professional, you're organized, especially when I go out and I have a tie on. I don't have a tie today. I'm wearing my shirt, but if I wear a suit and a tie or a jacket and a tie, it just makes you look like you know what you're doing. So let me open it up. It is heavy though. That's the one thing. Okay. Okay, so the first thing that I have, of course, I have my stamp. That's a given, you have a stamp. But I do have a couple other stamps I had made up. One is my notary stamp. It says my name, comma notary public, because I need to put that on acknowledgments. I don't want to handwrite that. I got tired of handwriting that. So a couple years ago, I had a stamp made up. And then I also have one that says notary signing agent. So that's for I use that one for the Patriot Act form where it says put your name and title. And since I'm filling that form out as a signing agent, I have notary signing agent. I have my journal. Okay, I use an iPad. So that's what I use for my journal. I carry the handbook from the Secretary of State with me. And the reason why you want to carry that is because if you run into something weird and you have a question, it's good to reference that instead of trying to look it up on your phone. So I'm in an area, sometimes you don't get good cell reception or you can't get on the internet, whatever. And it's good to be able to have that as a resource. So, and just one example would be like, hey, this guy, it needs a signature by Mark. And you go, oh, okay, no problem. I know we can do that. You look it up and you see, oh, I need a couple witnesses and they need to sign this way. And, you go through the steps and that's what's good. That's why it's good to have that in your bag. Okay. I carry one of these with me. So this one's old. It's from 2020. It's a document guide, and it just goes through all the IDs and what to look for to make sure it's a fake ID. So if you get a signer that's, hey, I'm from Hawaii or whatever, because I'm in California and they're from Hawaii, I don't see Hawaiian licenses all the time. I'm like, okay, I don't know if this is fake or whatever. So you look up Hawaii and see what security features they have and see if it matches what the book says. So I changed that on every 2 years. So I should change it this year. I ordered one, but I ordered the wrong one. I ordered the international document one. So I still need to order one of these. And I like this particular company. I guess I got this from the NNA because it says NNA. So this is the second one I've gotten of this particular guide. It's the Keysing document checker guide. So good guide. I very rarely use it though. I mean, just to be quite frank with you, I mean, it's good. It's good if you're on the East Coast where all the states are closer together and you're going to see multiple different IDs all the time. But here in California, it's like you're going to see a California license normally. Every once in a while I see a Nevada license or let's see, I see in a Texas, Florida, Hawaii, but for the most part, they're mostly just California IDs. So anyway. Okay, so I carry some thank you cards with me, branded thank you cards with a review on there. And this is a QR code with my ID information, what I do. So I hand those out when I do an appointment. I carry some money with me, small bills. This is what I have in there. I usually carry $5 bills. Okay. But when you run out of $5 bills, they turn into larger bills, obviously. So carry some small bills. Okay. I carry this. I carry my Square card reader. Just in case somebody doesn't want to pay cash, I can take credit card, and that's what I carry around. Let's see what else I have here. Okay, pens. Obviously, I have pens. I carry some loose certificates. Okay, so this is a loose certificate pad for acknowledgements. I have one of those, and I have one for. Yeah, I really have to. This is great. I'm cleaning out my notary bag. I have one for the jurat, and this one. I need to put some extra ones in there. So I have, those are, one's from the NNA, one's from Notary Rotary there. I have some that I had made up with my logo on it, and I've been using these. So these cost a little bit more because they're branded, and I didn't go and buy a million of them at some printer. So I just went to FedEx and got those made up just to try them out and see what the reaction was from people. But always have more than enough of those because it's going to be a problem if you run out. And let's see, there's some other things that I have floating around in my bag, just things I picked up. Envelopes for the Secretary of State. When I drop off a document for apostille, I just picked up a couple and I can put it in there, just run it into the drop box and run out. So, you don't have to sit there and try and fill everything out when you're over there. Not really, that's not necessary to have. That's what I have. I have this review sheet for loan signing. So when I'm at a loan signing and I'm looking through documents, I have this little sheet made up. And what it says is, while I review your documents, will you share your experience by providing a review of my service so that others can find me? And it's a review for my Google business page. And then I say, let's make it fun. Please use the word of the day in your review. And you can't see it here, but I had apostille on there, but it's just a one of those dry erase markers, so you can write down whatever you want. So if you're on loan signing, you can say the word of the day is mobile notary or loan documents or whatever you want them to write in their review. Okay, but it's important, have them use those keywords, because if you're like, here's apostille, I want them to say apostille. So if somebody's searching apostille near me, that review's going to pop up and they're going to be like, oh, okay, this guy's, here's a customer that actually used this guy and he said he did a good job. And then on the bottom, I have my contact information that they can scan in. I actually had a guy do that. I said, yeah, just scan this in. It goes in your phone under Notary Public, Jeff Clark, so they can find me easily and call me. I made a mistake for an aposty, and they said, yeah, we can't process it, but here's your money back, $6. I actually I need to use this money order for $6 because I was short the $6 fee. So I ran to the post office, got a money order, and they sent it back because I made a mistake anyway. So I have $6 I still need to use. I just haven't done it. I keep forgetting about it, so I need to use that. So, I do fingerprinting, so I keep some fingerprint cards with me in there just in case, but not necessary. Okay. And I have an ink pad too, but if I'm going to be fingerprinting somebody at a notary appointment, I'm in trouble. Okay. So I usually bring my other fingerprinting box if somebody says, hey, I need to be fingerprinted. I had a guy call me yesterday. He actually booked me on Thumbtack, and he said, I see you do live scan too. I said, yeah, I do. He said, yeah, I can do that too. And like, yeah, no problem. So I brought everything and did a live scan with the guy. So it worked out. So I have my journal. I have a paper journal just in case, all wrapped up, ready to go, just in case my iPad stops working or whatever, and I have to revert back to my paper journal. I always carry one of those just in case, you never know. So I have my ink with that, everything. I have some stamps that it's good to know that I had stamps in there just in case I need to mail something. Great. Stapler. Always carry a stapler with you. And I have staples, because your stapler will run out of staples. And so I just have, this is 5,000 staples, and you're like thinking, there's no way you're going to use 5,000 staples. You're right. But having these 5,000 staples, it lasts about a commission, 4 years. Okay. So I actually had one of these in there and went through all 5,000 staples in my bag. And then you get a new one, you put it in there. So depending on how much general notary work or specialty notary work you do, you need staples. And just to know that anytime you do any aposty work, you need to staple your loose certificate to the document or it will be rejected. So that's just a tidbit. Yeah, Thumbprint Reader, have that. And this is a microfiber cloth that you'll want. And you will just wipe your thumbprint off because the oils get on there, and you want to make sure that you get the prior person's oils off. I have a stamp C attached California certificate. So that's just in case you get somebody from certain ethnic groups, or like, can't you stamp on the actual document? And like, no, I can't, because it doesn't have any notary language on there. So you say, but what I can do is I can stamp it with this stamp and then put my loose certificate. And usually they're happy with that. And let's see, this stamp is, I've used it like 10 times. This is the disclaimer box that we need to have above our certificate as a California notary. And so if I get some document that is staying inside California and I can put that disclaimer box above the certificate, I stamp that. And that's why I only use it like 10 times, because usually there's not enough room to stamp that above the certificate. So just be aware of that. Okay, and I have my blue light wand to check IDs, so you can check your person's, make sure the security features are in their ID. I have these cards. This is like an oath card where you get an oath or an affirmation, and it's all written down. I have these for credible witnesses. This one says subscribing witness oath or affirmation. So I have it all here on this card, I just pull out the card and give the oath. I don't need to memorize it. I don't need to write it down. You can write it down and have it ready to go, or you can memorize it, whatever. I usually, when I do credible witnesses and that kind of thing, I usually read it from the card because I want to make sure I get all the points. Because if something goes sideways and I'm in court, I say, you know what? I give the oath and I use this card to give the oath. And they go, oh, okay, great. What is this? What does the card say? I can read it. This is what I say. Oh, okay. That covers all the points. You're good to go. So that's the reason I do that. I have that in my bag. Business cards. I have business cards in my bag. A lot of people, they like to use the digital business cards, and I do the QR code. The reason why I have the paper business cards is when you get an older couple that is not technically minded, you give them a business card, they'll hang on to it, and you'll get a call. It might not be next week, it might be a year from now, but it's always good to have a paper business card. I don't care what people say. I get business from these business cards. Okay. If you don't want to pay for paper business cards, then don't do it. Okay. But I'm going to tell you that I hand those things out all the time. And what you need to do when you hand out a business card, you don't hand out one business card. You always hand them out in pairs. So you give 2 business cards to everybody, one for them to keep and one to give their friend that is looking for a notary, or in my case, Fingerprinter, or whatever, live scan, whatever. So you always give it out in pairs. Okay. At least, sometimes you want to give 3 or something. I wouldn't give more than 3 cards out. Okay. Because then you're just wasting cards. They're going to be like, dude, I don't need 5 cards, or whatever. So 3 the maximum, 2 is the minimum. Okay. So between 2 and 3 cards. Okay. Don't go lower than that. Unless there's somebody that you don't want to call you, you give them 1 card. Okay. I don't do that, but you can do what you want. Okay. And just sometimes I have binding clips laying around because, sometimes you bind things together and you don't need a binding clip when you're shipping documents out. So it ends up in my bag because I don't have any other place to put it, and I don't empty my bag out every day. So it's there. Cleaner. Somebody gave me these. These are actually for eyes, but they were using it like it was a sanitizer thing for COVID. These are not sanitizing wipes. They're for eyeglasses. So, hey, I have eyeglasses. So every once in a while I pull that out. Not necessary for your, for what you're doing, but whatever. I do keep a copy of my commission. So the reason why I keep a copy of my commission is because if I do a jail signing or some place where they need to see my commission, I can pull that out. So that is just a color photocopy of my commission. I don't actually keep the actual one that comes from the Secretary of State in my bag. Okay. Because, you don't want it. If your bag gets stolen, you don't want that stolen, so you just have to keep a copy of it. Let's see. Stamp. I carry 2 size stamps. This is the small size. Okay. So I have a normal size and I have the small size. So this is a normal size. Don't ask me what the dimensions are, but I have a small one and a large one. Okay. So this one I purchased from the NNA. This one I got from the, where did I get that? Notary Rotary or something. These are Trojan stamps. And the reason I get this particular stamp is because you can get the ink pads. Okay. And what you do is you get a couple ink pads and you carry an extra ink pad in your bag. Okay. Just in case. you can carry these ink pad. They have a cover on it. You can carry it in your bag. And then if something you're at a signing, you're like, hey, my stamp is just not stamping quite right. You can pull out and switch the ink right away. Okay. And then what you do is you take this ink pad back, you buy Trojan ink and you re-ink it and you have to let it wait. You let it, after you re-ink it, you let it sit for like a day or two, and then it's ready to be used again. Okay. So no less than a day. You cannot ink it and use it right away. So just know that. Okay. And so you get your ink, you keep those around. And that's what's awesome about this. That's why I like this versus I do have the other style, like the one I showed you with my disclaimer stamp. So these you can't really re-ink. They're really not designed to re-ink. Okay. They're designed for so many impressions, and then you have to get a new one. Okay. They have some other ones that you can drop drops in the top of the I don't know, the stamp, and it's supposed to re-ink. Just know that does not work. Okay. And the reason I know that is because I'm from the cash register business, and we had that same thing where we get these stamp pads where it'd come with that little ink bottle that you drop in, drop some drops in there, and it doesn't dissipate to the whole ink pad. Okay. So we just tell people, hey, just buy another I think it was a thank you, your receipt, thank you, or something like that. Thank you, your receipt, something like that it said on there. And you just say, just buy a new one. It's like, I think it was like 10 or 15 bucks or something. Just buy a new one. Then you don't have to sit there and hope that the ink gets re-inks your whole stamp. So that's the reason. So that's the reason I go with this style stamp. Okay. You do what you want, whatever works for you. These particular stamps, they last the whole commission. And if my commission were going for like 10 years, I'm sure it'd be good for 10 years. I mean, they last a long time, unless it gets broken somehow. And I've never had one of these break. And I know if you buy it from the NNA, I think they guarantee the stamp for the life of your commission. So if something happened to your stamp, I mean, verify this with the NNA for sure, but I know that's what I heard, and I've never had a problem, but verify that with the NNA. They will take care of you if you get it from the NNA. And let's see, that's for the most part everything that I have in there. The only thing that I do carry around is I have these privacy protectors from the NNA. And so that's if you're using a paper journal, you can cover up people's personal information in the journal. And, to be quite frank with you, I never really used these. And the reason was because I was doing loan signings, and in California, you had to do one line per notarization, and you're like filling up the whole page anyway. And so it's like, okay, yeah, you're signing yourself. So, and if it's a couple, it's like, yeah, that's your husband, that kind of thing. So that's, I lost something somewhere. Anyway, so yeah. So, but best practice, cover it up. That's just what I did. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to Jeff, because I'm not, I don't do things right. Okay. You do things right. Okay. I'm just telling you what I do, just because that's what I do. The only other thing that I do have, I collect people's business cards. So I have a bunch of business cards in there. I do have refill ink for the pens that I use. I'm kind of not using that anymore. I have the cheap pens that I've been giving out to people. I I have some envelopes just in case I need to mail something out. But you know, for the most part, that's not necessary. I'm going to actually clean it out now that I'm going through it. I'm going to have to dump a bunch of stuff out of here because it's crazy. And then we have ink. Okay. I carry these little ink pads. I carry a couple of them just in case. Okay. And, you know, just in case, they're only good for so many impressions. I don't know what it says on here. But I had to, so I use electronic fingerprinter right now. And I actually was at this guy yesterday that I was telling you about, and he needed his son to put his thumbprint on the document. And luckily I had this in my bag so I can do that, because I went there with a live scan. That's all electronic. I do everything electronic now for the fingerprinting in my journal. So but I do carry this with me along with the paper journal, just in case something goes sideways. Okay. Cause I don't know, maybe because I've had this happen where I drop my iPad. Well, if that shatters and it's unusable, I'm out, and I need to collect, you know, it's hard to say, well, you know, hold on, I'm going to come back and I'm going to go to the store and buy another iPad or whatever situation you're going to do to make it right. You know, you can't do that. You'd say, okay, forget it. I'm going to go to my paper journal and get your signatures. And here in California, we only can use one journal. So what that means, if I go to my paper journal, I'm using my paper journal until that's complete, because I only can have one continuous journal at a time. So if I have to go back to paper, then I'm back to paper until that's completed. And then I'm going back to the electronic. Hopefully I don't have to do that, and I don't really want to do that, but you know, I'm just going to be prepared. And that's the whole thing. As a notary, you have to be prepared in any circumstance. Okay. The last thing I'm going to share with you that I carry in my journal is I carry $1 million just in case, you know, so, you know, always good to have $1 million just to remind yourself that you're making it big. And, you know, no, actually somebody gave me that as an advertisement, but, but I have it in my journal. This is a lady that does, I guess it's a youth center or something. So, and she does some bling or something. So she gave me those, and I'm like, yeah, that's good. So tell the universe you want to give $1 million, keep it around, you know. So that's what that's all about. So that's everything in my bag, the notary bag. If there's anything I missed that you think is very important to carry around, put it in the comments and make me think of something that I forgot to have in my journal. I'm sure there's something that I don't have in my journal or my bag. Sorry. If I forgot it in my notary bag, if there's something that I missed, put it in there, and, you know, I'll consider it. For the most part, this is everything that I use on a day-to-day basis, and it served me well. I don't think there's really been any other thing that I needed. You know, I do have, yeah, I do have some I do have this that I carry around. This is certification of a copy of original for powers of attorney. Okay, so that's the only certification we can do, power of attorney. Or I think I can do journal certifications. I think, I don't know. I don't do it often enough. And if somebody calls me about those kind of things, that's why I have my handbook. Check that out. But for the most part, that's what I carry in there. And I actually, for the power of attorney, I actually had that happen one time. I went to a signing. The lady needed to turn in the original power of attorney. And she told I think it was the escrow officer, she was not going to send it to her. And the escrow officer said, "Hey, I need that original coming back to me." And the lady said, "There is no way I'm sending this to you. This is the only one I have. This is the original, of course, and I'm not going to send it to you. I can send you a copy, no problem." And she said, "Well, that won't work." And I said, so we hung up and I talked to the lady and I said, "This is what I can do for you. We can copy it right now. You have a copy machine and I can certify it as being an original. And we can send that back. And if the lady has a problem with that document being certified, then you're going to have to send the original, and you're just going to have to do it to get the transaction closed." But I didn't hear back from her. I think it went through. I don't know. It would have been smart of me to follow up with that lady to find out if it worked out or not. But that's the reason I carry that with me, because had I not had that document with me, it would have been a problem, so I was able to do that and get it done for her, and yeah, it worked out. So with that, hopefully this has been helpful. If you're a new notary, reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you in any way. If you're a seasoned notary and you're watching this and you're laughing about it because you're like, "Dude, why in the heck do you have that in your bag?" Tell me in the comments and tell me what I'm doing wrong, and I'll be happy to take it under consideration, because everybody has their different systems and method of doing things, and you might say, "Hey, I do it this way, and that I see why you're doing it that way, but you should consider my way of doing it because it saved me a lot of time," or whatever. And hey, I'm always looking for ways to do things better or more efficient. And just one thing that I'm going to share that I don't carry in my bag, but what I did during when we started in the lockdown of the pandemic was I had these little, I don't have them here readily available, but I had these little I made up these sheets that say, okay, deed of trust and whatever, where I had them laminated where I can put them in the spots for the loan signings and bring everything to front and have everything notarized first, and then return them back to the right areas in the loan documents. And so I did that along with paper clipping documents that people don't sign, like for example, if it was the documents for escrow instructions or things like this that people don't read, you just say, "Hey, these are the escrow instructions." I would paper clip it together and just flip it over and just give them, it would automatically make the signing go faster, because I wouldn't have to flip through a bunch of pages trying to look for signature lines. And I know that people do flags and so forth, and that is awesome if that works for you. But what I found is using flags actually takes longer than paper clipping the documents and just handing the documents that are needed to be signed to the buyers or borrowers. So, everybody has different methods and so forth. And I've been doing it a while, so I know what documents need to be signed and where their signature lines are and so forth. But I want to be quite upfront with you and just tell you that I miss some signatures at times, and it's always those times where it's in a weird spot. Like I had the new loan application or loan Yeah, is it the loan application? Yeah, 1003, the new one. They, on one of them, the lady's signature was at the top of the page, and I'm looking for everything at the bottom, right? So they're like, yeah, you missed this lady's signature on that 1003. I'm like, oh, okay, great. I'm gonna have to go back and get it. And it wasn't, she was an hour drive from me. So I'm like, oh, great. I'm gonna have to go back there, hour drive, get her signature. Well, I did it, no big deal. But that is where a flag comes in handy. So, if you're prepping your documents and there's something really weird, put a flag there. Okay. So you remember it. Okay. But if you're flagging every document where there's a signature, it is a bit tedious. And when you're it takes time removing the flag. So yeah, not only do you have to put the flag on, but you have to remove it, and it takes time. Okay. So if you're trying to whip it out efficiently, then you don't do that. Okay. But everybody has their own processes. So I don't want to discourage you from doing that if it works for you. Just that's what works for me. So I'm just want to share my experience and take it or leave it. So anything that you learn or understand on my channel, it's take it or leave it. Don't drop what you're doing and go with what I'm doing. Okay. If, for example, if you wanted to try it, you do flags all the time and you say, hey, I'm going to try doing it without flags, try doing it alone without flags, and just sit there and double and triple check your work while you're sitting with the signers. That's all, just do it, run through it, go, okay, I checked it. It looks like I got everything. If you still think that you missed something, give it to the signer. Hey, can you just go through this and make sure we got everything? Because I want to make sure your paperwork's good. I went through it. You go through it too, whatever. And I'm sure they'd be happy to be, oh, okay, great. Yeah. I mean, it depends on the signer too. Somebody might say, you should know what you're doing, but I'm just saying, whatever makes you comfortable to make sure you did the process right. So you can always try things out. And I try things out every once in a while. Somebody suggested putting the loan documents in manila folders or sleeves, envelopes. And I've done that a few times. And some people appreciate that. Some people are like, I don't care. So it kind of depends, I've tried it. I've done it several times. It depends on the type of loan. Like I'm doing a couple of reverse mortgages today. I'm definitely going to put those in an envelope. Okay. In a manila envelope, because it's probably going to be, I haven't gotten the documents, probably be over 200 pages. And I don't want to sit here and try and clip a binder clip on try and force it on there. And even if I do force a binder clip on there, I want to make sure that if it comes loose or something happens, it's, they're not going to be upset that it went all over and their pages are all over and they're trying to gather everything up, so just don't want to have that problem. So anyway, with that, have a great day, and we will talk to you again soon.